somehow Piotr Jan fans are still going to try to convince themselves and everybody else that he's still the best bantamweight in the UFC or in the world. Guys, this fight with Merab and Piotr, it was a fun fight. I mean, that was a great fight. Kind of one-sided, but still a very fun fight. First two rounds were all Merab. It was just easy 10-8. I mean 10-9, not 10-8, not 10-8. Easy 10-9 rounds for Merab. What I meant to say is 20-18 in total. The third round was a bit closer, but it was still for Merab. Fourth round was less closer than the third, but it was still for Merab. And then the fifth round, honestly, I just stopped thinking. I just was watching for the fifth round, but that one was for Merab as well. It was 50-45 on every judge's scorecard. Not one judge gave Piotr Jan any of those rounds. Merab, not only did he land like 10 more takedowns. What is it? Was it 10 more takedowns? I think it was. No. Was it? I don't even remember the number. They showed the number right before they announced the scorecards. Not only did he land way more takedowns, he also outstruck Piotr Jan. Like, heavily outstruck Piotr Jan, especially with head strikes. That's how dominant this fight was with Merab. Now listen, I had Piotr Jan winning the fight by a knockout or maybe a TKO in the third round. Whatever it was just I thought it was gonna be a Piotr Jan, not really a masterclass, but maybe more of a masterclass in the second and third round. First round would have been close. He would have dealt with some adversity there maybe. I thought Piotr Jan was gonna win this fight. I was fully convinced that he was gonna win that fight. I thought his striking was much better. I thought the takedown defense was going to be much more on point. Takedown defense, some of it was there. It was there at some points in that fight. But Merab, he's just much better. And even the striking, man. Striking was wild. Piotr Jan's right eye was almost completely shut by the end of the fourth round. And it was just complete domination from Dvalishvili. He wasn't in trouble at, I don't think, any point in that fight. Jan wasn't really in trouble either. I guess there were like a few like weird guillotine, not really attempts, but like the submission attempt was there. But realistically, man, if you wanted to talk about, Piotr Jan beat Aljamain, Piotr Jan beat Sean O'Malley, well, where does that put Merab if Merab just absolutely destroyed Peter? That probably puts him up there in bantamweight for sure. Merab is going to be one of those guys. He could probably beat Sean O'Malley. I think he could. He could probably beat Sterling as well. I mean, they've trained together a lot. They already know each other's weaknesses, each other's strengths. They know everything about each other. Of course, they're never going to fight. But I'm just talking about with this fight, it proved to us how good Merab really is. Because we didn't really see that in the last fight. A lot of people wrote him off after the last fight. But in this fight, we saw a whole different Merab. I mean, he looked better in this fight than he looked in his fight against Marlon Moraes. That's how much he's improved since then. Striking was super on point. He never got rocked in that fight. The wrestling was just something else, man. Merab, he's an issue for anybody in the top 5 at bantamweight. He's an issue for anybody at bantamweight. It's going to be tough, man. Sean O'Malley, I feel like Merab should have called out Sean O'Malley because it would have been hard for O'Malley to avoid that fight. So Merab could have taken it and taken his spot. But I know they don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen because O'Malley versus Sterling or O'Malley versus Udo for the title, that's the way to go. I was talking about giving Piotr Jan another title shot after winning the fight. That was if he won the fight. He lost the fight. He's on a 3-fight losing streak now. And this is one of those losses of Piotr Jan that you can't dispute it anymore. All 4 of Piotr Jan's losses before this fight, they were all of them controversial. The DQ, the second Sterling fight, even though I thought Sterling won that fight either way. The O'Malley fight, which I thought Jan actually won. And even before he joined the UFC, he had another split decision loss where it was controversial as well. All of his losses before this fight were controversial. A lot of people passed off Piotr Jan as 20-0 undefeated and the current champion. Well, Jan is definitely not the champion no more. He's on a 3-fight losing streak now, and there's nothing you can say to try to dispute the result of this fight. it was all Merab. Every round was a clear Merab round. Couldn't really give it any other way. Someone here, oh yeah, Mac Malley MMA. He just tweeted out, I got it here. I disagree that Merab is boring. It would be one thing if he got that one takedown each round and held him there without doing anything, but the dude's blasting takedowns like it's a jab. Half the time I feel like he was fucking with his opponent. And it's true. He really does kind of use those takedowns like it is a jab. That's interesting because it's kind of true, you know. And listen, Merab, not only are the takedowns good, his striking is really good too. He put on a war with this one. We've been proven in this fight. Merab proved to us that he can be exciting. A lot of people were looking at Merab as just like, he's boring. He's not fun for this division. The UFC should cut him. Piotr Jan should knock him out. Get him out of the sport because he's bad for the sport. Merab is not bad for the sport. Merab just put on a very nice, a very fun, entertaining fight. He's good for the sport. I think he's good for the sport. I think he's going to put on more fun fights now that he's more confident in his ability to be more active. The next Merab fights are going to be better. They're going to be much better, and they're going to be much more exciting. Except I don't know if some of the opponents there at the top 5 in Bantamweight are going to be as good as Piotr Jan. So that really tells us the skill level of Merab, how good he's going to be against the top 5 in his next fight, whoever his next fight is. It might be the winner of Cheeto versus Sandhagen because he's never fought either of those guys. I think that'd be the way to go. But I don't know, man. I like Merab's chances in either of those fights. I really favor those chances, but also Volkov's crazy, man. You know, his last fight, the knockout was like, you know, controversial because it was like early stoppage. It was very early stoppage, even though Rosenstrike did look like he was in a bit of danger. Volkov still got the win there. In this fight, there's not really much controversy. I guess it was not really like the most heavy stoppage. It wasn't like hard ground and pound. It was just Romanov wasn't defending. Romanov gained 30 pounds for that fight. I don't know if that was on purpose. I would doubt that was on purpose. He didn't really look good in that fight. Romanov before the second round of Marcin Tybura, he just looked unkillable, unbeatable. I remember looking at this one UFC video that they did on Romanov back when I was first getting into the whole sport, and he just looked like an exceptional fighter. And now he's on a 2-fight losing streak, and he just got knocked out in the first round by Volkov. And Volkov, he's doing pretty good for himself. Ryan Spann versus Nikita Krylov, I was very wrong about that fight. It was very action-packed at the start. If Ryan Spann had just landed on Krylov's chin, I think it could have been lights out, maybe just a finish. He almost had him there, though. He almost had him there. He could have had it. Almost had that submission as well, but then Krylov got his own submission, and then Ryan Spann just tapped. All first round. That was a super exciting first round. I don't know if Nikita Krylov's going to beat a lot of guys in the top 5 at light heavyweight. I don't think he will. I think a lot of them are just too good. You know, like Magomed, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri, Jamal Hill, or even I think Anthony Smith is probably his best bet, but he's going up against Johnny Walker, which that's going to be a tough fight for him as well, probably. Johnny Walker's much better than he was, let's say, a year ago. So that's another good fight there. Krylov, I think he's got to fight up. He's fought down in his last 3 fights now. I think his last 4 fights, actually, or maybe even before that, he's just kept fighting down. I think it's time he fights up. Maybe he can be Alexander Rakic. He could be his comeback fight. Who knows? I think that would be a fun fight as well. Maybe a main event for a fight night. Maybe even put it on a pay-per-view. One of the first fights on the main card. Who knows? Maybe a feature prelim if the card is stacked enough. Who knows? Also, Jonathan Martinez, Said Nurmagomedov. Listen, I thought Said Nurmagomedov won that fight, but Jonathan Martinez still looks good. He's very entertaining. He's very fun. He's coming off 2 wins against, Cub Swampson and now Said Nurmagomedov. Those are 2 good wins. Those are big names at bantamweight, and he's gonna be ranked next week, and he's gonna do big things at bantamweight. He's gonna be very entertaining. His next fights are gonna be really good. I think his next fight should be the loser of Munoz versus Gutierrez. I think that's gonna be a good one. I think Nurmagomedov should stay on the rankings at number 15. They should take Jack Shore off because he's not gonna fight at bantamweight anymore. He said that he's already making the move to featherweight. He's not fighting at bantamweight anymore. So Martinez 14th, Said 15th. Merab is crazy, and Jan is he's not washed, but yeah, I think Merab is the next big thing at bantamweight. No, he's already the big thing at bantamweight. Who can beat Merab? Who can beat Merab? I want you to ask yourself that. Who can beat Merab Dvalishvili at bantamweight?